Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here with another falconry video. In today's video I want to share some secrets about how to have success flying a kestrel. Before I jump in, if you haven't already, if you could please hit subscribe. I do appreciate it very much. It helps me keep this channel up and going. Now, kestrels are the smallest. I live in the United States. Kestrels are our smallest falcon used in falconry. And there's different kestrels around the world. The principles, but here's the thing that's, when growing up, kestrels were kind of viewed in the falconry community locally as a toy. They're like, oh, that's not a real falconry bird, which of course they are. With proper weight management and proper training, you can have a lot of success and a lot of fun with them. And that's what's happening now, is a lot of people are getting into using kestrels. But here's one of my worries, and what kind of spawned the idea for this video is recently I've had a lot of people kind of reaching out and saying, hey, I want to do a kestrel, but I'm having a hard time finding a sponsor who will allow me to do that because they have never flown a kestrel themselves. They've flown red tails and Harris hawks and goshawks and peregrines and all these other things. And so if that's the case, I'm not trying to fix that problem, but I'm trying to help a little bit. I'm trying to share, make a few videos sharing little secrets that I share with my apprentices who are flying kestrels to help them have success. And you have to understand, not all birds are created equal, and that's why this is so important. A kestrel is a murder butterfly. Just remember that. Picture that visual. They're murder butterflies. Okay, they're wing loading, meaning the amount of weight they have for the size of their wing size and body is very low, which means they kind of are buoyant. They're flutter. You've seen in videos that I've done before, probably they can hover. And so the normal name of the game, they normally want to hunt rodents, but they will also hunt insects. They will hunt reptiles, and they will occasionally hunt birds. But what they are built to do is to fall down on things. Okay, they're not built as extreme pursuit predators. So they're built to, like, oh, I'm sitting on a pole here, and oh, there's a mouse, and they dive down, pounce. Okay, you're letting gravity do the work. Or hey, I went to go over something and it kind of moved in the grass, so I hovered in one place over it, and then dropped down on it. That's what they're built to do. They can do other things, but that's what they're built to do. Now, if you're just getting into falconry, you might not know that. Compare that to a merlin. A merlin is not much bigger than an American kestrel, and yet the musculature, the wing loading, everything is built for incredibly long, powerful, athletic pursuit flights. Kestrel is not. And so, with that in mind, how do you have success? How do you go out and actually hunt game? Because where I'm at, most people who are training a kestrel are using it to hunt English sparrows and starlings. They're prey species that are birds that they can catch, that are within the legal size, that are within the legally able to hunt, and within the size limit and abilities that a kestrel can actually tackle. And those are both birds that are very athletic, especially a starling. And so, as with all falconry, you want to give some sort of advantage to your bird. Kestrels, usually when they're going after birds in the wild, it's sort of a surprise situation. So I want to share some videos to give little bits of success, little secrets to help you have success in that way. This first video, I just want to talk about one that actually is a bit broader. It applies to other birds as well, but especially kestrels. And that is strength training. So when you get a bird in the wild, usually it's fat, it's out of shape. It's like, I eat as many grasshoppers and mice as I can. They're out of shape. Now, they're in relative shape to do whatever they need to do, but I'm saying they've got a little bit of reserve of energy. And so they're not necessarily that motivated to do things. The principles of weight management, you cut out some of that fat, and that bills are like, oh, hey, I don't have any fat reserves. Let's hunt, let's fly. And they learn, they'll fly to your fist, fly to a lure, fly and go catch something, right? That's kind of how it works. But if you think you have your golden number, there's also the need to rebuild extra muscle back and get the bird fit. That is true across the board with all birds, but some birds by comparison have it built in. Just about all birds of prey get out of shape very quickly and get back in shape very quickly. Their metabolisms are insanely fast. And in the world of being a top predator, live fast, die young kind of life, you can't afford to stay out of shape. And so with a little bit of exercise, they can get back in shape very, very rapidly. And so when you are doing that, that is, of course, why it's good to have a sponsor who's worked with small birds if you're going to fly a kestrel. But it's not enough to have them at a right, good, proper, responsive weight. You might have some success, but remember, this is not a pursuit predator. An out-of-shape, sharp-shinned hawk still is like turbocharged and still seems to have this energy and pursuit ability that an in-shape kestrel doesn't. And so, how do you get them in shape? Well, if you are training them to fly to the fist, remember, normally when people are flying a bird to the fist, you have a perch, and then you're flying them over here. In the early stages, that's on a leash. Later on, it's off leash, and you're like, hey, I'm training you. See, I call you, and you come over here. Or maybe you put a lure out, and they come and land on the lure. That's great. But you'll notice over a while, the bird figures out what you're doing, and so it'll jump off, and it'll flap, 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 and then it'll just kind of glide the rest of the way. When you're doing this with your first bird especially, it's magical. You're like, wow. It feels like such an accomplishment. But the bird has figured you out. The bird has figured out, I can glide the last bit. I don't have to put a lot of effort in. So as wondrous as it feels to you as a new falconer, it's not much of an accomplishment. In fact, if you're really looking at it psychologically, the first time a bird hops to your fist from a perch is psychologically a bigger accomplishment than when they're flying to your fist. But it doesn't feel that way. So with the kestrel, especially being so buoyant, being murder butterflies that have very little weight, you're not giving them much exercise. It may seem like it. Now, of course, there's the old tradition of stooping a falcon to the lure. And my experience has been with kestrels. Some kestrels are really good at this, just like any other big falcon would be. And some just don't. They'll try, and then go wander off. So how do you find ways to exercise this bird, to put a little extra strain on them? And one of the best things you can do is to have them fly up as many times as possible. You could put them on a perch at the bottom of some stairs. You go to the top of the stairs and call them up. And of course, you're going to be getting some exercise too doing that. Some people will do it with a ladder. Sometimes you'll go stand up. And again, this works with any bird. But have them fly, 20, 30, 40 times up, straight up. Okay, or you could just do a T-perch. A lot of people like to fly with a T-perch, but even if you don't hunt your bird from a T-perch, you can just train them on a T-perch. At home, you can just have a big old, and that's a lot less exercise for you having to run up and down a ladder, is you just put the T-perch down, put a little piece of meat on, whoop, put it up, kestrel's on the ground, has to fly straight up. That's not that hard of a thing for a kestrel to do a few times. But if they're doing it a whole bunch of times, once you've really, and again, when you're doing this, the principle is, if you've got a good response weight, now as they're building muscle and strength, they're going to be going up a few grams. You have to watch for that. You don't want to be exercising them and keeping them at the same weight. That's part of what your sponsor is there for, to help you understand weight management and weight control. But that, building that muscle, you're going to see them go up in weight a little bit, and their ability to pursue will go through the roof. Because again, if you are trying to get them to chase a bird, they're not built to do that. They can do it, but they're not built to do it. And so you need to give them the advantage of having an athletic build to be able to do that pursuit. So anything you can do, there's other ways too, to build that strength, but that's the easiest way. Stairs, a ladder, or a big tall T-perch that you have food on top of. And of course, step by step, you start at a lower step, go up, start lower on the ladder, or hold the T-perch at an angle so they're not flying so high and they see the meat. And then just progressively taller and taller, bit by bit. Birds are smart. Birds are very smart. They'll figure it out very quickly. But this is a way to build up that muscle, build the stamina, and give them the ability to have pursuit hunting qualities that normally are not found even in wild kestrels. You don't see wild kestrels chasing a starling long distance like that. I'm going to do some other videos giving some other secrets that are a little, maybe even simpler, but not often talked about, so be watching for those. But I hope this technique is a good reminder, not only for kestrels, but for all our birds, to keep them in good shape and not just base things off of, are they responding good? It's like, no, think of them as an Olympic athlete. Get rid of the fat, and then start building the muscle. That's what you want to do. Hope this video was useful to you. If you haven't already, if you could please hit subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. And as always, happy hawking.